Okay, so today we're doing chicken satay, and this is a dish which will be gluten-free, as always. It's made from peanuts, so if you have a peanut allergy, this is not the dish for you. And I've bought some raw peanuts, and the first thing I have to do is roast them because they're just a bit pasty. But once you roast them, they taste like nuts. So job number one is to turn those into roasted nuts. It only takes about 5 minutes, and I'm just going to do it. So job number one, I've got them in a pan, and I've just turned the cooker on. And I'm just going to heat these until they start to go brown. A couple of them look a little dark spots on the outside, doesn't matter. You'll see them start to sweat. It's starting to look a bit shiny. And they'll start to go brown, and all of a sudden they'll burn very quickly. So once they start to sweat a bit, turn the flame right down, or put them in the oven for a bit. But I prefer to do it this way. I just keep turning them with a spatula.
But they're cooked, aren't they?
Very, very close. Yeah, they're very close. If you're if you're in any doubt, oh, they're very hot. Take one out and try it. It's starting to taste peanutty, the way it should do there. I'll take that off, and I'm just going to let it sit in its own heat for a while. Now, this is a rice dish, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a measure of rice. And in case you're wondering what the measure is, it's about 60 grams weight of rice. But this is a third of a metric cup, or 85 ml. So a third of a metric cup, or about 60 grams of rice per person. So I've put the rice in there. I will give it a rinse in the tap, and the water will all go milky, and I'll get all sorts of starch things. I'll pour that away. It just stops it getting too sticky in there. But to cook rice is the world's simplest job. Simply put it in the pot, cover it with boiling water, give it a stir, because if you don't, it'll go into a huge lump, and then just leave it on there to simmer for a bit, and just keep an eye on it. Okay, so I've got some boiling water here, and all I'm going to do is just cover the rice to about the same depth. If the rice is 2 centimeters deep, I've got 4 centimeters of water, so that's 2 centimeters above the rice and 2 centimeters with the rice. All I've done here is just cover the rice, and I'll just give it a good stir. I'll put the lid on and just get it moving. This rice is going to be fried rice for this dish. If it was going to be boiled rice, I would do this much later on. But as soon as this is about cooked, I'm going to run it under cold water in a sieve and stop it cooking completely. And then it can sit on the side until I need it. So I'm not too worried. If it was boiled rice to be served, I would do it at the end of the meal when everything else is about ready. About 10 minutes from serving, I would start this because it takes about 10 minutes to do rice. And you can tell it's done. If you bite through it and there's a little core still hard in the middle of the rice, it's not quite cooked. Once you can bite through it and not feel that roughness, just take a sample out. Once you can feel no roughness, the rice is just cooked. For me, I would probably bring it out a little early because with it being fried rice, it's going to get cooked again. The peanuts, I've got a little browner, all on their own. Don't worry if they taste a little soft while they're hot. That's normal. Once they cool down, they go rock hard again. Oh, this is getting crunchier already. And it's better if you grind these when they're crunchy, because they just break up. If you do them while they're too hot, they tend to chew a bit. So, you know, just one of them things. So I'm going to grind these down into a fairly coarse paste. I'm not looking for peanut butter here. I just need to break them up so the flavours can get out. And I'm just going to give my rice a quick stir. So I've got my grinder, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour some of these in, not all of them, I'd say about half of them, maybe a third of them, and I'm just going to grind them up. Okay, the secret of a lot of good sauces with these sorts of ingredients is to get the flavours to come out. Spicy ingredients tend to have oily spices, so it's a good idea to put the oils in first so that the flavours in here can get drawn out into the oils. Now you can see this is a fairly coarse chop. There are big bits in it. So I'm going to add about a tablespoon of just ordinary cooking oil. And I'm also going to add about a teaspoon of 5 spice. Smell is gorgeous. I'm going to put in about a teaspoon of ground ginger. If you have fresh ginger, use it, but somebody used all my fresh ginger up earlier, so I'm on ground ginger. And I'm also going to add some mild chilli. Now, you don't have to have mild chilli. Satay does not have to have chilli in it. I like it. This is a very mild chili, this stuff anyway, so... Oops, it's going everywhere. When I say it's mild, I mean, you get it on your fingers, you just lick it off, it's no problem. And I'm also going to add some garlic, about a teaspoon of garlic. So I'm going to put all that in and give it a good mix. And I'm going to let it sit there for a couple of minutes and let the oils draw all the flavours out. Then I'm going to add a tablespoon of vinegar, tablespoon of soy sauce. It's Chinese, got to have soy sauce in it. It's been a few minutes, so the flavours have started to go into this. So I'm now going to add the other ingredients. I'm going to start with some soy sauce. And I'm going to add some cider vinegar. And then, just to help balance the cider vinegar, about a dessert spoon of sugar. No more than that. You want a little bit of zing to it, but you don't want it to be bitter. Now, you are going to eat this. Some people are very funny about these things, but you are going to eat this. You are going to put it on your tongue and enjoy it. So, I know it's cold, but give it a try. And when you do that, you'll find it doesn't quite taste like satay sauce just yet. I'm just going to try adding a little bit of sesame oil. I'm going to put in about another teaspoon of 5 spice in. Right, we'll leave that alone for a couple of minutes just to let the flavour come out. Now, while that's doing that, I know I'm jumping back and forward like a bouncing ball here. This rice looks visually to be about cooked. It just has the look of cooked rice. I couldn't tell you what makes rice look cooked, but this looks like it to me. It's just starting to go a little bit fuzzy at the ends, but it's still maintaining its shape. It's just cooked, isn't it?
It's just cooked.
It's just cooked. Right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to sieve this in cold water. So as you can see, a lot of the water's just been soaked into it now. So in it goes. Bit of cold water. Rinse it all out. And I'm just going to leave it alone. And my mysterious helper's hand has appeared. Okay, for the vegetables I've got onions and peppers, mostly. I've got the onions and peppers chopped coarsely and finely. The reason for that is the finely ones, chopped ones, will be used in the fried rice. Coarse ones will be used in the main dish. And the only other thing I've got to do is take my meat that I'm going to use, which is going to be chicken for this dish. And probably one breast of chicken will do the pair of us, because it just will. So I'm just going to split the chicken. And because Chinese tends to be cooked quickly, it's best if you have this in thin slices. You know, you don't want a giant chicken breast because it takes like 10 minutes to cook. You want something that cooks in 30 seconds because it's Chinese food, isn't it? So I am cutting these into quite fine slices. As you can see, I'm running my blade parallel to the thing and I'm getting a nice fine slice. A good sharp knife is the key to this one. If you have a blunt knife, you're going to wind up with, well, I don't know, chicken mince, I suppose. But as you can see, this is cut nice, and that will cook very quickly because there is no part of the chicken that's very far from the pan. So it cooks very, very fast. So the observant among you will have noticed that I've got a piece of bacon out because I just like a bit of bacon in my fried rice. I like my fried rice to have some flavour because rice can be such a bland thing. That's the problem with it. I like rice, I eat a lot of it, but even so, it can be very bland. So you need a decent sauce or something to have a decent dose of flavour. I know I chopped the chicken in this board, but trust me, this is going to get fried within an inch of its life. The chicken will be the last of my worries. So I'll just get that on the go. Right, so I'm going to start by adding some oil to a pan. And it probably would have been an idea if I'd heated the pan first. But, you know, cooking on salty last is full of these little oversights. There we go. Just starting. There you go, you can hear it. I just want to get the chicken moving. Because all the pieces in a Chinese dish are cut small, they can more or less all go in at the same time. I like to keep my onions a little crunchier in this dish. So I'm putting the chicken in first to get it cooked, then the onions and peppers are going in together. And not very long after they go in, the sauce will go in, it'll all thicken up, and while that's doing, I will then cook the rice, and then we're pretty much good to go. It's wonderful. So you can see that this chicken is already virtually cooked through. Look at that. Look. So I can just flip it over. It's been in the pan, what, 30 seconds? And you can see already that the edges are now cooked. And it won't be very much longer till the middle's cooked. When you cut it thin like this, it cooks really fast. As you can see, the chicken is just starting to brown. The onions are just starting to turn transparent. So we're done. Now you can see how much sauce I had in this because there's like a high water mark. So I'm going to add about the same amount boiling water. And give it a quick stir. Let me just let that simmer. In my other pan, I put a little bit of garlic and some oil. In goes the onions. A few mushrooms escaped there. Right, they're just starting to turn transparent. My usual rule for doing this, so if you're in a kitchen whose cooker doesn't move back and forward, you don't know what you're missing. Oh yeah, adds a certain zest to your cooking. Oh yeah. So just let that go till we're sure everything in there is cooked. While that's getting on with it, I'm going to thicken my sauce with corn flour. So I'm going to take a dessert spoon of corn flour. Oops. Add a bit of water. And as you can see, this is simmering nicely, which is the key to doing this. If it's not simmering, then it just sets in a big lump or doesn't set at all. So make sure I've got a nice paste. Get my spoon, start mixing it all together and just dribble this in and mix. And the reason it has to be simmering, as you can see, is when you add this in, it soon cools down. So, and then you just make it as thick as you want your sauce to be. If you like a runny sauce, then leave it there. If you like a thicker sauce, put some more in and give it another stir. As you can see, it's thickening up quite nicely. Look at that. I don't think I'd want it any thicker than that, so I'll leave it there. The camera person has deserted me, so we'll just carry on. I'll add some soy sauce now. And then I will quite simply just dump this in on top. And since the bottom is covered in soy sauce, how am I cover the top in soy sauce? And it's just a case of just mixing it all together to mix the bacon and the onions and the garlic and the peppers and everything all into my fried rice. Look at that. And I'm just going to let that sit there and Okay. Slight camera issues, I'm afraid. One's run out of battery, so we're on the backup camera, which, so if everything looks a bit different, now you know why. But we've got to the point where we're serving up, so it's not really a big crisis. The joy of a silicone spatula. Oh yeah. You do this. Look at all that lovely sauce coming out. The nice thing about it is it will scrape that pan totally. Look at that. Chicken satay, fried rice.